Foxfire software proudly presents Foxfire WMS Product Overview. Topics include receiving, creation of inventory, directed put away, picking, labeling, and shipment. Okay, and welcome to our demonstration today. I'm Trent Keneally, Solutions Engineering. Today's topic we're actually going to be going over the warehouse management system, which I've shown on the screen here in 3 different dialog boxes. The section on the left, as seen here, is going to be the handheld, where we're going to be doing most of our activities today. Then there's going to be 2 sections on the right. Top section over here is the dashboard, where you can actually open up most of the applications. And the section down here is going to be one of the applications we have open, because we're trying to show the status of materials as they move throughout the warehouse. For today's scenario, we're just going to do a simple day in the life of the warehouse. Goods come in, they're labeled, the system directs the processes within the warehouse, it directs put away, sales orders come down, the items are picked, the items are labeled for shipment, and then the items are marked shipment. Within the Foxfire WMS, there is one topic that we need to go over in here, which you'll see throughout the system. We have a thing called an LPN, or a license plate number, which stands for unique identifier, so we can track and have complete chain of custody throughout the entire warehouse. So, let's go ahead and get to it. Alright, our items have come in. If you've noticed on here, today we're going to be receiving pallets of paper, and we have our owner here of Dunder Mifflin. All these items are made in the United States, a few have lot control, and then we have a variety of statuses. So the items come into the warehouse. After they come into the warehouse, we print a label for them, as shown here. This gives a unique identifier tied to a stock keeping unit, and then has other information as needed. In this case, we've got the created date, lot numbers, and also quantities, because these are pallets of paper. So, the items have come in, they've been labeled. Now we need to finish the receiving process. So on the handheld, let's go ahead and finish the receiving process. So we go to the application on the handheld. First thing we're going to do is scan that unique identifier, so that way we associate a person with the action and activity. So let's go ahead and scan it. And the system brings up a few more dialog boxes. These are checksums, as you were, to establish both chain of custody as well as if you've got quality control checks inside your warehouse. So in our case here, we're just going to put 1 and cycle it on through. Now if you notice, what happens almost immediately on the handheld is the view changes based upon the action that you're doing. But if you notice also, the look and the feel is much different between the handheld. The handheld and the PC-based applications, on the handheld it's very task-driven, purpose-driven. It's telling you the items you need to work on, descriptions, and checksums for them. So in our case here, it's saying we've scanned this unique identifier. It's this SKU, or stock keeping unit. Here's a description of it. Now if I go back over here to the receiving application, hit refresh, the one that we're working on has now changed to a received status. So since we've now started this put away transaction, the system has updated in real time what's going on. So let's go on back over here to the handheld. And so we've now picked up the item, and the system has now directed us to put it away in a certain location based upon the rules we set up during installation. In this case, it's saying go to stock 01, because that's the correct place to put it. So the forklift driver picks up the material, drives on over to stock 01, scans the location, thereby verifying that we've gotten complete chain of custody from the receiving dock to directed put away. The system gives a message saying that this item has now been put away into this location. If I go back over here to the PC-based application, hit refresh, notice the status has now changed. It has been put away, and it now has a location. So this shows a good example of both the receiving process and also directed put away. Alright, In our next action we're going to work through today, we're going to continue this life cycle that we've started on. So a sales order has come down from the host, and we now need to go pick according to the sales order for shipment. So on the handheld, we're going to go into picking. Now if you notice, the screen that comes up has lots and lots of choices, and this gives us a lot of the functionality and flexibility of the Foxfire WMS. In this specific example today, we're just going to be doing full unique identifier or LPN picking. It gives options. Are we going to be resuming one? For example, if we had to pause it in case we had a break. In our case today, we're actually going to be getting a new one. And it brings up a concept of a skid, a pallet. This is very important inside the system because as we were talking about chain of custody, we want to know a unit of movement inside the warehouse, because we're now moving it from a location that we know where it is, and we're going to immediately move it over to the area where we're going to ship it. But as a consequence, we need a unit of movement, a skid, a pallet, a forklift, whatever that is in your warehouse. So let's go ahead and scan our skid here. And it brings up a few more choices. Depending upon the type of picking method we're using, we could be doing directed picking, as in we're going to ask the system what's the most current, what's the next pick we need to do. Or in our case here, we're actually going to tell it what we're doing. We're actually working on a specific wave. Now remember, a wave is just a collection of pick tickets that have been put together in some logical grouping. This could be by carrier, by SCAC, for example, UPS, FedEx, small package, LTL, whatever that is. So once we go ahead and put in our wave in this case, now the system is going to direct us accordingly. Now, if you remember, this screen looks a lot like the put away screen in that it's going to tell us the unique identifier we're working on, where it's located, and some information about what we're going to pick. The SKU, stock keeping unit, the description of it, the quantity we're going to be picking, and it gives you a little bit on if there's a pick ticket or sales order. In this case there is. So now the forklift driver drives on over to this location reserve rack and scans the LPN to verify that he's now picked it up and associated with this item with his unit of movement. So let's go ahead and scan our item now. Okay, so in our situation here, we're just doing a very simple example, but it shows what happens. So in our case, we've now picked it up. This was the last item we needed to pick for this order. So now the system is going to direct us to the area around the dock doors to finish the shipment, labeling, and getting it ready for shipment. And these are all drop controls that can be set up in the system, so you can specify where things are dropped according to whatever the needs are, small package, LTL, etc. Okay, so now let's go ahead and, so we've now picked up the item, driven the forklift back to the loading dock, in this case dock door, and we scan it to verify chain of custody from put away all the way through to shipping. Okay? It gives us a message on the handheld, and if we go back over here to the PC-based application and refresh, notice it's now showing and picked and my new location. So we've now shown an example of complete chain of custody from receiving to put away to picking. So let's go ahead and finish up the process. So now the item is at the dock door. It's in a pick status. Now we need to label it with a shipping label, and then print manifest, bills of lading, etc. So in our example here today, we're just doing a simple one. So this is just a small package. Here's an example of a UPS label that's generated by the system with all the relevant information. And then I'm going to go ahead and bring up a packing slip that would be associated with it. And if you notice on here, it gives you all the appropriate information. Sold to, shipped to's, attentions, order dates, customer order numbers, quantities, etc. Okay. So now let's go ahead and complete the shipping process on the handheld. So we've gotten our item completely labeled and it's ready for shipment. Now within Foxfire's WMS, there are many types of shipping. Much like picking, all kinds of options on here. But in our case here, we're actually just doing shipping at the single level. So we're actually just going to ship confirm the item, the pick ticket level, to make sure that we send the appropriate types of uploads to the host for invoicing. So we're going to ship confirm. And once again, it's walking us through the process. So let's go ahead and scan our unique identifier. It gives us a verification here on the handheld. And if we go back over here to the PC, hit refresh, the item we just worked on is now in a ship status. So we've now shown complete chain of custody from receiving, to put away, to picking, and to shipping. This concludes our short demo today. We hope you've enjoyed today's presentation of Foxfire Software's WMS Overview. I'm Trent Keneally, Solutions Engineering. With questions, please call us at 864-868-5243 or email us at sales@foxfiresoftware.com. Thanks and have a good day.